What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a slightly different video. You got me and Buster here, right, Bubby? That's right. It's my boy right here. So today's video, I want to just put everything out there of why I parted ways with my WJ Jeep Grand Cherokee that you guys all loved, that you guys all know. It wasn't something easy for me to do, believe me when I tell you that. I actually bought that way back when I was daily driving my Cobra Mustang that you guys now know, the one that I bought back totaled. I was daily driving that car when I was in my senior year of high school. It was March of 2013 when I bought the Cobra, and I daily drove that car the rest of that year, all the way through the winter of 2013 to 2014, and then 2014 rolled around. I was out of high school and everything. I had a pretty good job, and I had a buddy that had the Grand Cherokee Jeep. It was all stock, guys. It had a MagnaFlow muffler on it, and that was really about it. It didn't have anything whatsoever done to it besides the muffler. So I didn't want to go another winter driving the Cobra because, to be completely honest with you guys, I almost killed myself like 5 times daily driving the Cobra in the snow and everything. It was definitely a rough thing to do. Now, keep in mind too, back then the Cobra was very much stock. It had like Flowmaster mufflers and an air filter, but it wasn't anything like it is now. Like, it wasn't on drag radials or anything like that. It was on like an all-season tire. It, 327 gears. Like, it wasn't like crazy fast like it is now. Actually, it's not crazy fast now, but it's a lot faster than it was. But it was doable, but it was very sketchy. So 2014 October rolled around. My friend's dad, which it was my friend's Jeep, but his dad owned it. It was my friend's first car. So I ended up talking to his dad, and his dad was like, yeah, you know what, I would let the Jeep go, and so on and so forth. I ended up paying $1,500 for the WJ in stock form. It had 216,000 miles on it, but his dad didn't want to give me the Jeep in like a poor state. So the Jeep really needed rear brakes, it needed a power steering pump, it needed a couple things. So he told me, I will not give you the Jeep until all of that work is actually done. Sorry guys, my neck hurts a little bit. So yeah, he ended up fixing everything, and I ended up taking delivery of the Jeep, 1 or 2 weeks after I talked to him. Paid $1,500 for it, and I dailied the hell out of that Jeep for a very long time. It wasn't until 2018 that I bought myself like a dedicated daily driver. That was my Honda Civic that I had, my AM2. You guys don't really know about that car because it wasn't really anything special. It had like an eBay exhaust and stuff, but the Jeep I dailied all the way from 2014 to 2018, 4 years I dailied it. Now, keep in mind, it did have a second car throughout that whole period. Most of that whole period. I had my Cobra until 2017. That's when I sold the Cobra. So I went back and forth between the Cobra, the Jeep, but I didn't drive the Cobra like I was driving the Cobra when it was my daily driver. So I drove the Jeep most of the time. Now, the Jeep wasn't the way you guys saw it on the channel and everything back then. That kind of happened more recently. I mean, you guys know I started YouTube, I want to say 2020. It was during COVID. I had nothing to do, so I picked up a camera and started recording, and you guys started reaching out to me and stuff, and you guys liked the stuff that I post, so I kept it going, and here we are today. But the thing with the Jeep is I went through a couple lift kits on that. It wasn't bad to daily when it was stock. It got great gas mileage and everything, but I'm sure you guys have figured this out by now, especially with the Subaru. The Subaru is supposed to stay stock, and look at it now. I can't leave nothing alone. I can't drive a stock vehicle. Like, I can do my best to like drive it as long as I can stock, but I wind up touching it. Now, with the truck, I bought the truck knowing already what I wanted to do to it. A third gen Dodge Ram was actually one of my bucket list cars. It's one of my favorite trucks. It's one of my favorite body styles. So it was kind of a no-brainer when the deal popped up. But getting back on track on the Jeep here, the first lift kit I didn't make it like an unusable daily driver. I shouldn't even say unusable, because it was always a good daily driver. Even the way it left my possession, I still could have dailied it. It would have just cost me a lot of money in fuel, which again is why I bought my Subaru. But yeah, so the first lift I did on my Jeep was it was like a budget boost lift. It was like a 2-inch spacer lift, or it wasn't anything crazy. I did I think they were called upcountry springs, which they come from an overland Grand Cherokee. And then I did the spacers on top of that, like the leveling kit. So I ended up doing that. I ended up going to get JK takeoffs from a Wrangler, which, if you guys don't know, they're equivalent to about a 32-inch tall tire. So I ended up doing that. It was very, very budget friendly. Like I said, it was my daily driver. So I didn't want to go completely crazy with it. But I ended up doing that first. Then, of course, I was like, it's not big enough. So I went through a couple more lifts. It wasn't until, I realized how shitty it rode that we got to where we were when I got rid of it. But the second lift I had was a short arm Rusty's off-road lift. Now, I don't have busters like on my kneecap right now. So I don't have anything bad to say about Rusty's. It's more so the fact that it was a short arm lift, lifted 4.5 inches. Just doesn't really pan out well for Grand Cherokee Jeeps, or Jeeps in general for that fact. The control arm becomes too vertical and it just doesn't ride great. It really doesn't. It kind of rides like a brick. So I ended up using that lift for a long while, like a very, very long while. Then I ended up working at my buddy's custom shop, which is no longer around, but I worked there for a year, and we ended up having an account with Rough Country. So Rough Country had a long arm lift kit for the WJ Grand Cherokee. So what I did was I kept parts of the Rusty's lift. I kept the Rusty springs and stuff like that. I did the Iron Rock off-road upper control arm in the rear, but I ended up going long arm, front and rear. Now, when you go long arm on those, there is no going back. You're cutting your factory control arm mounts completely off. You have to. It will not clear. So I ended up doing that. I ended up getting a used set of Krager soft 8s with 33 10.5s, 15s. I rocked those for a very long time. I used the hell out of those tires. Those tires were bald by the time I was done with them. And I mean, little upgrades here and there along the way, like the 1-ton steering and all the interior stuff and stuff like that. But at that point, when it was on the 10.5s, is when gas mileage started going very, very downhill. It was to a point where I was putting gas in it about every 3 days just to drive the places that I drive now with my Subaru, and I put gas in my Subaru once every week and a half, 2 weeks. So you can only imagine how much that was. The Jeep does take premium. It had a tuner on it the whole time. Especially when I got rid of it with the stroke motor and everything, the tuner, the stroke motor, all that stuff that requires premium fuel. You have to run premium fuel. So you're already paying more per gallon of fuel. You're getting I think it was 8.2 mpgs is what I was seeing in the Jeep, which is terrible. And the Jeep has a 21.5 gallon tank. So it's not like I'm filling a 15-gallon Subaru tank. I'm filling a 21-gallon tank. It's only lasting me 3 days. You can imagine how quickly stuff adds up. So I drove on those soft 8s for a very, very long time. I used them till they were bald, 100% bald. Then I ended up getting the fuel wheels with the negative 44 offset, the 33-12.5 18s. And anywhere you look, they'll tell you they will not fit with a 4.5, 5-inch lift. I had a 5 1/4 inch lift on my Jeep, but technically you can only really look up 4.5 because I had 4.5-inch springs plus the 3/4 leveling kit, so it was 5 1/4. They'll tell you they won't fit, but if you know what you're doing, you can make anything fit. So obviously I ran no front bumper. That was a dead giveaway. Obviously you're not running a front bumper because it's gonna scrape the tire. which is why I did that bull bar setup in the front, just to give it like a nice look in the front with no front bumper. I didn't want it to look like it was like just missing a front bumper. Like I wanted it to go with it, you know what I mean? And I think I pulled it off very, very good. So I had to adjust caster a lot, play with it, figure out where I was going to set what, until it didn't rub at all. Those wheels did not rub at all. I pushed the axle forward far enough, they didn't rub. So that's that. I ended up doing the 456 gears. That was with the fuel wheels, I believe it was, because the Jeep slowed down a lot. Those wheels and tires, for one wheel and tire, they were about 130 pounds. So that is a lot of added weight around the Jeep. The other ones were probably about 75, 80 pounds, a lot less. So it slowed it down a ton. That's why I did the 456 gear. And then obviously you guys know I blew the original 4-liter up back in 2019. It was January, beginning of January. Got the bright idea to go to the bar. We were all drinking at the bar. We left, and I had my buddy drive the Jeep, and I was like, you know what? I want to go wheeling. So I told my buddy that wasn't drinking. I was like, drive the Jeep to the woods, and I'll drive it in the woods. Well, I was already pretty hammered. So what happened was I went through a really big mud hole. I ended up jumping the Jeep because there was like a what can you call it? Like a berm, I guess you could say. So I jumped the Jeep. I didn't notice the spring fell out. Me being, under the influence, didn't notice. Kept driving around like that. Kept going through the mud hole with no front spring. Like it just had one spring on one side. So what happened was the axle actually came up and contacted the oil pan, which in return suffocated the pickup for oil. Now I didn't really notice this that night. The Jeep was running fine. I wasn't paying attention to gauges or anything like that. So it wasn't until the next morning I go to start the Jeep and I hear a chirp, 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 chirp. I'm like, what the hell is this? Jeep's covered in mud and everything, like covered. I'm like, what the hell is this? I go inside, I look, I literally have like no oil pressure, and I'm like, oh no. So first thing I did, I checked the oil. Oil was good to go. I'm like, okay. Now obviously you guys know when I put the original motor in that wasn't stroked, I got that motor, it was pretty much locked solid. I freed it up. I only paid $100 for it, so I couldn't really care much. But that was actually right before I started doing YouTube. But that was the first motor that I actually swapped out for the original. That motor lasted a little while, maybe a half a year, and then I ended up blowing that one up. It wiped the cam lobe out. So the original motor wiped the cam bearing out from oil starvation. That's what I found when I took the original engine apart. And then the second motor wiped the cam lobe out. So it didn't look like an egg anymore. It was just a circle. So it wasn't opening the valves. I had no compression on one cylinder. I believe it was cylinder 3. That's when me and my cousin went to Staten Island. I ended up getting the low mileage, what we thought was a 4.0. I get the engine home, I put it on the stand, go to re-gasket everything and everything like that, and I start looking around, and I see Sharpie writing on all the bearing main caps. Like somebody was writing down tolerances and just weird stuff. And I'm like, factory does not do that. Like I've opened up a ton of 4 liters and I have never seen writing like that ever. So I started looking at part numbers and stuff, and I ended up finding out that it had a 4.2 crank, 4.0 rods, 4.0 pistons. If you guys don't know, that is considered a poor man's stroker. More or less, it's a 4.6 is what it strokes it out to. But that is the final engine that we had in the Jeep, and that thing ran awesome. Never hiccup, nothing. Great oil pressure. Like seriously, it just ran great. Now at this time, the Jeep's done. Like realistically, the only things that I was going to do to the Jeep on the channel for you guys, I was going to do the rock sliders to fix the rocker panel rot. I was going to do that for you guys, and I was going to repair the rust behind the back bumper, and that's really about it. I didn't have anything else to do to it. I was thinking about maybe swapping it with like a like something cool, you know, LS or turbo in the 4-liter or whatever. But you know, I got to thinking, and by doing those things, you're making it unreliable. And the way the Jeep was, it was very, very reliable. Like, I wouldn't have hesitated to get in that thing, drive to Florida and back. I know it would have made it no problem whatsoever. I know it would have cost a ton in fuel, but I know it would have made it. And you know, I just got to thinking, and after I towed the EK for forced induction, it just got me thinking, like, you know, it towed the EK, but it didn't have any power, man. Like, it was like, I don't want to say it was like crawling, but you had to really give it some throttle to get it moving with a light Honda on the back. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, what do I do? Now, I've towed a trailer with my fence on it, the fence I have in my yard, and, you know, going up the mountain and everything, temp gauge would start getting a little high. It just wasn't meant to do what I needed to do. It's a great vehicle. I enjoyed every minute of owning it. All 10 years that I owned it, I cannot complain one bit. I have a lot of memories in that thing and everything like that. But the reasons I got rid of it, man, is, you know, one, practicality. I needed something to tow, and it wasn't cutting it with that. It really wasn't. I have the Cobra. The Cobra is getting boosted in the near future. It's going to need to be trailered places. It's going to need to be trailered to the track. It's going to need to be trailered to the tuner. It just makes sense. You know what I mean? The other thing too, like another reason why I got rid of it, is because the content was done. The content was done with it. I had nothing else to do to it for you guys. Like, I know you guys wanted to see Jeep content. Trust me, I know. But the build was done. There was nothing left for me to do besides like a handful of things, like the rock sliders, and that was really about it. After that video, it would have been just sitting there doing nothing. So it just, you know, that aspect made sense. The aspect of towing made sense. The fact that I owned it for 10 years, and it was just, for me personally, it was time to move on. For me, it was time. You know, and honestly, a couple people will know, but I have some personal reasons why I got rid of it too. I won't really go into that, but there was some personal reasons why I got rid of it. You know, me personally, for me, I did it for a reason, but you know, that's really about it, man. But you know, I just want to say, like, we have a completely new platform now. We have the 3rd gen. It was one of my bucket list cars. Honestly, in my personal opinion, we have the best color 3rd gen they ever make. Like, electric blue, dude. What a better color to replace the WJ. And I'm sure all of you can agree with that. Like, 150%. That is an awesome color on that truck. I wish the body was a little cleaner, but, you know, maybe one day we could do some body work on it and we could paint it or something. You know, I do plan to keep that truck for a very long time. It runs really, really good. It does still have a couple mechanical problems, but we have been going through. We have been getting it sorted. I still do have to reseal the T-case input shaft seal, the output shaft seal on the transmission. Those two need to be done. I do want to service all the fluids in the truck. I still got to do front CV axles on it. It needs wheels and tires. I mean, it needs tires, but we're going to do a wheel and tire because I'm not going to put tires on rims that I don't plan to keep. Yeah. We got to do exhaust manifolds. We have the normal Hemi stud braking, which is why, if you guys noticed in my Ram video last week, you'll hear a little bit of ticking. That is the manifold. That is not a Hemi tick. That is 100% the manifold, guys. It goes away when it warms up. So there's a stud missing in the back passenger side, all the way in the rear. I'm going to wind up doing both. I'll show you guys how to permanently get rid of that too, without doing aftermarket headers, because I just can't swing that right this minute. I do plan on doing long tubes on that truck down the road, but not right this minute. I just want to fix it. I want to use the thing. We are going to be building a side exit exhaust for that, so that'll be really cool. That'll be coming up in the weeks ahead. But yeah, man, there's not much left mechanical wise to do on that thing. Just a couple things here and there. I did put the new rear axle in. I did that a couple days ago, and it is good. The one that I thought was rebuilt in my YouTube short, it was 100% rebuilt, because it's silent. There's nothing wrong with it. The posi works, everything works like it should, which is awesome. I ended up only spending about $160 by getting the first rear for $80, it being bad, and then getting the second rear for $80 and putting that in. So I'm only $160 in the hole there. If you ask me, $160 for a 9 1/4 rear is not bad whatsoever. But yeah, so we got plenty of content coming, especially with the truck. The Mustang too. You know, the Mustang will never be done, guys, and it will never leave my possession again. So if you guys are here for the Cobra, you will never be disappointed in that. I sold that car once, and I will never make that mistake again. That car will be with me for the rest of my life. The truck, obviously, I'm going to keep it around for a long time. Obviously, later on, I'll trade up for something else, probably another truck. But the Mustang's a permanent car. The Subaru, honestly, is a throwaway car. It's my daily. You know, when that thing hits about 200,000 miles, we'll start looking for maybe like a WRX or something. But I do like my Subaru for daily, so I will be probably looking for another Subaru for that. But yeah, man. So I just wanted to, you know, fill you guys in of exactly why the WJ's gone, exactly why I felt like it was the right move for me. Personally, I hope all of you can understand that. I hope all of you can still support the channel. I'm trying to get more content out for you guys. I'm trying to post every week. It's hard. It really is. I gotta buy parts to make content. It's not like it's a free channel. If you guys want to see some vlog type stuff, I could definitely do that every week. You know, I'm always out and about with people doing stuff, you know, things like that. I could do vlogs at the junkyard, show you guys what the junkyard has. I go to U-Pull yards, which are very good priced, and you know, we could walk around, look at cool stuff in the junkyard. But if that's something you guys want to see, you know, drop a comment down below. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Just a, you know, a little spiel for you guys. But next week we'll start turning some wrenches again, because we got plenty of work to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please drop a like up on this video, drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys in next week's video. Peace out.
Nope. It's fine. Shit! Your beer! Fuck! Don't spill my beer! You already did! Shit! I need to drink it while we're going through! Dude, we made it through easy that time. We're fucking ripping, dude. Alright, I'm gonna stop ripping before we're